It is Christmas time in Trinidad and Tobago. I'm in Massey Stores. I'm making a pulled pork pastel pie, and I'm here at the chill section getting my pork shoulder that I'm going to actually braise and roast down and shred up to make this meat. And I just want to show you guys real quick. See, we're looking for a nice piece like this. So I know there's a Scrunter song about this. Yeah, exactly. You're filling the blanks. We're gonna get this piece of pork and we're gonna take it right back to the kitchen and get started. It's heavy, but let's get cooking. So we're back in the kitchen. As you can see, I've decorated for Christmas. It's Christmas time. I hang my lights, my curtain is up, my kitchen is nice and clean. We're gonna get a little dirty, not too bad, because we're making our pulled pork pastel pie. And we just got this pork fresh from Massey Stores. I'm ready to go. Are you? Let's get started. So the idea for pulled pork pastel pie is sort of kind of an off-the-cuff thing. You know, we all have the pastels that are individually wrapped, but sometimes if you're feeding a huge crowd of people and you want to just get it done really quickly, you can easily throw this into a pie. So think of a shepherd's pie, but instead of using lamb or beef and potato, we're going to sub the potato for our cornmeal, and then we're gonna fill it with pulled pork that's been slowly cooking. It'll be marinated overnight. Lots of rucool, bay leaf, clove, all that good stuff. Everything that reminds us of Christmas. And if you're not a pork person or a pork eater, you can easily swap this out with chicken, or you can do beef or lamb, or if you want to just take it really quick, you can do maybe even a fish if you're not eating meat. But the possibilities are endless. So before we get started, if you're enjoying eatahfood and you want to join us this Christmas season, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Instagram. So right here, I'm gonna mix my spices. I have some garlic powder here. I have a bit of onion powder, black pepper, some clove, paprika, salt, and then I have some brown sugar to top it all off, just for some sweetness. So I'm just tossing this up already. I mean, the black pepper is kind of tickling the back of my nose, if you know what I mean, but I'm gonna hold it together. I'm gonna give it a nice rub. So yeah, give it a nice massage already. Seeing the kind of red from the paprika bleed off into the meat, just like that. I'm gonna rub this in, make sure that every square inch of pork is duly coated with this rub. And if there's a little bit of fat in there still, I mean, it's Christmas time, so if you're thinking of dieting, just stop. Enjoy yourself, celebrate the year. But back to the fat. Fat equals flavor. We did trim off enough so that it wouldn't be too oily when we're doing our braising later. But we have to have a little bit in there just to keep the juiciness, you know? You don't want any dry meat. Not for Christmas time, I can tell you. So this already looks like it's gonna taste good. It smells great. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna cover it with some foil and I'm gonna let this marinate overnight. And I know what you're thinking, it's Christmas, take the extra step, you know, push yourself with these recipes. But if you don't have a whole night to wait, leave it for at least 2 hours, you know, go clean the windows, you know, go wipe down the porch, and when you come back, it's time to throw this baby into the pan and continue. All right, so a few hours have passed. I didn't have the luxury of overnights, so it's fine. And what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna sear off some of the pork. So here it is. The salt and the sugar will act as like a tenderizer for the meat, and it will just help make this pork super soft and delicious and very easy to pull apart when the time comes. So I have a pot right here on my flame, well not flame, my hot pan. I'm just gonna add some cuisine soybean oil to the pan. This is already quite hot, and I'm gonna take my pork. I have a huge piece here and it has a beautiful bone in it, real nice and strong. I'm just gonna sear it, place it right into the pan. So what you're looking for is for us to kind of sear the base of the meat. It's gonna seal in those juices so that when it's cooking, you kind of have like a steam action happening, which helps us get the most tender pork possible. So we're gonna roll with this. I'm gonna sear off each piece and I'll show you guys the next step. As usual, it smells incredible in this kitchen. So we have our meat here all seared. Now we're just gonna build our little base before we put this in the oven to braise. So I have here some onions that I've just roughly quartered, peeled and quartered. I'm just gonna throw this right in, so it's nice and evenly spread. Next I have a whole head of garlic and we just peeled it and just crushed each clove. You don't have to chop it up or anything because this is really gonna melt down in the oven. So just gonna add the garlic in. There we go. Next we have some chopped ginger. And because this is a braise, I know ginger is quite a strong aromatic, but because it's a braise, it really is gonna melt down and all the ginger will sort of steam into the meat. Next we're gonna add some bay leaves. We have 5 here. Just kidding. More than 5. And we have some fresh thyme that we're gonna shred right in. Just gonna put it right in. And thyme, as I've said in other videos, is really the perfect herb to put in braises. It's a very strong herb, but when it melts in, it's really delicious. Adds a great depth of flavor and freshness. So we're just gonna throw some right in there. So almost done setting up our braise. We're gonna add some ruku into our pot, and ruku is a natto extract and it is used primarily, or it was used by the indigenous peoples in Trinidad and Tobago. And there's probably a lot of ruku in your food that you eat all the time in Trinidad, especially if you get it from different vendors and stuff that have ruku in there. It adds a really nice earthy flavor. And if you want to purchase ruku, you can always get it from vendors at Central Market or from other markets across Trinidad and Tobago. And if you're not in Trinidad and Tobago, you can get the annatto seeds online and it will give the same flavor. So a little tip there. So after I put the ruku in, I'm just adding the last of 4 cups of water to the pot. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to cover it with my lid and I'm going to place it in an oven that's preheated at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm gonna let this braise for 4 hours and I'm gonna show you exactly what that looks like. Okay, so we have this meat here that we did ahead of time. And what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna simply just shred this meat up right in this bowl. And I have a little plate here just to put my little excess bits and bits. So all the little extra little pieces of aromatics. Got another bone in here, and I'm wearing gloves this time. But if you don't have gloves, it's okay, get in there, but just make sure and you wash your hands thoroughly before. So yeah, just very simply, I'm just picking the meat apart and shredding it. So I'm pulling the pork, right? So because we let that pork braise for so long and we kind of let it steam as well, the pork is just easily shredding. I'm not even putting much effort into it at all. It's just coming right apart. Oh, look at that. All right, so I took my time and I promise you this, I took the extra time and I made sure the pork is nice and pulled. It's super shredded right now. I know they call this ropa vieja in Espanol, which means like shredded close, or so it kind of looks like this, you know, real strong up. So I have a clean pot right here on the stove, and you're probably wondering what happened to all that delicious braising liquid. Well, we're actually going to incorporate that back into our meat. And so I have some of the liquid right here, and I'm just very simply going to strain it right into our pan. Opa! So as you can see, my pan is super hot and it's actually gonna help us reduce this even faster. We really want the sauce to thicken up and those flavors to concentrate even more. So when we cut into this pastel pie, there is no denying that we took our time. We made this with love. Took these steps, you know. We have some more here. All that is flavor that took 4 hours to build, so you know it's gonna be great. So next thing I'm gonna add is some of my cuisine raisins. And cuisine actually not only has raisins, but it has golden raisins depending on what kind of flavor or color you would want for your pastels, a pastel pie. So I'm just gonna let these sit in here to kind of rehydrate and get nice and plump. And add that little kick of sweetness that we know and love from pastels. Next, we're gonna add our pulled pork right back into the braising liquid. Come on now. And we can't forget 2 key ingredients in pastels. We have some capers. Gonna toss these in. Oh, this is so nice. And then next we're going to add olives. And if you're not a big olive fan, that's fine. You don't have to put them in, but we're making, you know, as close to pastels as possible, and that's a signature item. So I'm just kind of taking them away from the salty brand because there's already a good amount of salt in here with the capers. I'm just gonna give this a final toss. So I'm gonna put this aside, let this cool completely, and in the meanwhile, I'm gonna build our little cornmeal layers, and you're gonna see this all come together. So I know we're not making pastels, but we're gonna try to infuse as much pastelness into our pastel pie as possible. So I went outside, I did some weed whacking, I came back with some fig leaves. I cut on a whole branch before, but I kind of separated them out. That's a true story, by the way. Don't think I didn't do it myself, because I did. And what we're gonna do now is actually prepare the fig leaves for our pastel wrapping. So we're first going to just run it over this flame that I have going here. We're just gonna singe it. So I'm just gonna do this for all these pieces of fig leaves over here. Okay, so we have our fig leaves singed, our pork is cooling, so now we're gonna move on to our cornmeal filling. So right here I have 6 cups of water that I have here steaming. It actually was boiled just now, but it's gonna bubble up very soon. And to this, we're just gonna add a bit of salt. We're gonna add a little bit of grated nutmeg, and I'm just gonna grate the nutmeg right into our water. You gotta sneak the Christmas in where you can, you know. About a teaspoon of brown sugar, just to give our cornmeal a little bit of sweetness. That's always nice. Teaspoon and a half. I'm gonna add about 4 tablespoons of the cuisine soybean oil. And I have here measured out 6 cups of cornmeal, and I'm just gonna add this straight into the water, and then I'm gonna stir it constantly. So with the cornmeal, what we did is we added our cornmeal into the boiling water with salt, nutmeg, and our cuisine soybean oil, and we whisked it until it became this sort of battery texture. And as it cools, it's gonna firm up, but we want all this to happen in our pan. So we're just gonna start and go ahead and build. So here I'm gonna lay the fig leaves in, and I'm actually just gonna quickly just measure them. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I just don't want too much of it hanging off, so I'm just gonna cut the little bit of excess, just like that. And I'm gonna cut another piece of leaf and lay it right in. So next I'm gonna add some of my cuisine soybean oil, and I'm just going to pour it onto the fig leaves and brush it right on, just like so. Now time to add our cornmeal. So I'm just gonna spoon it into different spots. At this point, you know, you put the pastel press and all that kind of thing. But we're doing a big batch way of making it. And so I'm just gonna pat it in to the fig leaves just like so and form a nice base. All right, and you guessed it, the next step is to add our meat. And the meat is about room temperature now. I'm just loading it in. My stomach just went, I'm so hungry, y'all. No lie. All right, so you guessed it. Next is just to add the rest of the cornmeal to the top of the pastel pie. Just gonna spoon some on there. There's something about the smell of olives, just reminds me of Christmas so much. And another thought that I had is if you don't eat meat, lentil pastel pie is really good too. I actually enjoy a lentil pastel. That's probably like my favorite vegetarian option for the Christmas. There we go. I'm just gonna spread this right on. Looking like a big old pastel, huh? All right, so I'm just gonna add a little bit more oil. Oop, let me take off the cap now. There we go, just a little bit more oil. Brush it right on top. I'm gonna cover this with foil and I'm going to place it into the oven at 350 degrees for just about 20 to 30 minutes until the pastel pie gets nice and set. So our pastel pie is out of the oven and we actually remove the foil and the fig leaf and let it kind of brown on top just for a couple minutes extra. It is looking so good, and I know it's supposed to set for even longer. Honestly, the longer the better. So by the time you take out the oven, take it over to your mom's house or your auntie's house, it'll be nice and congealed together. However, I am greedy, I am impatient. You all know how I roll, especially when it comes to my food. So yeah, let's do this. Get a little bit of that cornmeal. Y'all, it's so delicious. The flavor from the fig leaf sort of permeates on top of the cornmeal. Our cuisine raisins are super juicy. That delicious salty bite from the olives and the pork. It's almost as if the pork even steam even further in our little bed here of just Christmas magic. So tender, so delicious. I mean, I don't want to flex on pastels, and they have a place in my heart. I'm not honing new pastel, but this is the side check, I guess. Special thanks to our friends at Cuisine for sponsoring this video. Cuisine products are available at Massey stores nationwide, all throughout Christmas and throughout the year as well. And if you're looking to cook this Christmas, if you want to throw down, if you want to try something new, make sure that eatahfood is your one-stop destination for all your Christmas recipes, Christmas cooking tips. We have your back. You're going to be a star this Christmas. And until next time, y'all please be safe on the nation's roads and while you're doing your Christmas runarounds. It's always a pleasure having you here with me, and I will see you next time. Bye.